All last season, you saw the videos of my car and everybody else having fun on an autocross track. You saw different cars, different perspectives, and lots of people having lots and lots of fun with their cars and cones, learning to push the edge of their car and find the limits of grip and driver skill. But what goes into all of that? What makes these events happen? Well, it's simple. It's the core workers. Without them, we have no autocross events. You would show up and there would be nothing there for you to do. There would be no course. There would be no cones. There wouldn't be anything. It would just be an empty parking lot. To bring the action that you guys saw, it takes a team of core workers to make everything happen. Today's video, we're gonna take a deep dive into what these core positions are, what they do, so you guys can see what goes on behind the scenes that makes it so when you show up to an autocross event, everything is seamless. You're able to show up, register, get your worker assignment, and get out there and drive. I have spent the season interviewing the different core positions, finding out what it takes to do their jobs, how long they've been doing this, and what brought them into the sport. These people are the core of the Oregon SCCA Autocross Club, and they are vital to the survival of this club. All of these members have put in lots of hard hours behind the scenes, so whenever we show up to an event, we don't notice any hiccups. We just get to drive and pick up a few cones. So sit back, relax, enjoy these interviews. I want to thank everybody in advance for watching these interviews and listening to what these people have to say. All of the core workers are important to our club, and I look forward to what you guys are about to see. So I am here with Brian and Dave. First of all, how are you guys doing today?
Great. It's not raining right now.
Yes, that is very true. We are in a nice little break. These guys both work for Waiver. I believe you're the chief of Waiver, and then you work Waiver in the mornings.
I'm on what they call permanent waivers. In other words, I'm always waivers in the morning, and then they assign it to somebody as part of their work later on in the day.
During the run groups.
So first of all, how long have both of you guys been doing autocross?
This is my third full season. Before that, I did like one, maybe two autocrosses a year.
Previously for 5 or 6 years. 8 years.
8 years, wow, that's a long time.
I'm not the oldest person out here either. I mean, the one who's been doing it the longest either. Believe me, they're...
Yeah, I've definitely talked to some people that have done it for quite a long time.
Yeah, when they start off at like 14, 15 years old doing karts and stuff, it adds up real quick.
So what drew you guys to autocross compared to the other motorsport activities that you could be doing?
So I've been around racing my entire life. My dad started racing when I was 2 months old, so I grew up at a circle track. I always wanted to race, and throughout high school I raced circle track, and then after that, getting out of college, I was like, well, what can I do? And actually got tied up with another team doing like the chump car endurance racing. And that was great until we got to having kids, and then all racing stopped. And I was itching to get back into racing something. And I was like, well, what can I do that I don't need a big team, that I don't need a dedicated track car? And I found autocross and tried it out. I'm like, oh, this is fun. And at some point I decided to be a little more serious and try a little harder at it.
I basically bought a Miata, and a friend of mine had a Miata, and so we went, hey, let's go autocross. I mean, we'd come out and watch track days and things like that, participate in track days, and we'd come out for, events on the track, and this was just an easy way to get into playing with our cars and seeing what we could do.
So what made you both decide you wanted to do a core position or permanent position?
For me, it was my girlfriend is the other person that comes out in the morning and does this as permanent waivers. Her name's Sue, and we just liked it because then we're done with our assignments for the day. And she's been chased a couple times when she's been out shagging cones, and she didn't like that so much. So it was like, this is a nice safe position. Nobody's gonna, we don't have to be standing out in the rain necessarily. Or wind or whatever, and it was just, okay, we'll just take it on as a permanent position, then we know what we're doing. When we go up to Packwood, we take up an RV, and so it's really easy for us to just get up in the morning, have our breakfast, and one or the other of us heads out to take care of waivers at the front gate. Here it's obviously here instead of at the front gate. But yeah, we just like it because it's convenient and it's consistent.
I started doing this year. This is my first year doing Chief of Waivers, and I did it because they asked for volunteers. Being involved in enough clubs, I've seen that the health of a club is dictated by how often the members get to move around, and you don't have a core group that always has to do it forever. You have new people coming in constantly, and that helps not people get burned out. Because I enjoy this, I knew that it's something that I wanted to be around, so I wanted to keep the club healthy, and so I said, okay, I can step up and I can help out too.
So, to do waiver, are there any special requirements or anything that are needed to do it?
So as Chief of Waiver, I had to learn a lot of the legalese of what's going on and make sure that we're following the proper process. Before the event, all we need to do is make sure that our bins are filled up with enough of the bands and the paperwork. And then after the event, I have to gather everything together, make sure all the numbers are on the forms, and get it mailed into the chief office so that they can get it filed with our for that event.
Okay, so my last question for you guys is going to be, how long in the morning does it take you guys to prepare? Is there anything you have to do before you get here, or is it just making sure that there's waivers in the bin?
So the only thing we need to do is make sure we have the boxes before we get here in the morning. And like yesterday, when we didn't have the boxes are in the trailer, we just had to run and get them out of the trailer and bring them over and get started.
I guess I have one more question. Is what would you tell anybody that wants to come try this out?
I'd tell them if you want to be involved in a club, it's a great way to get to know all the other core workers and all a lot of the people that are here all the time. And it's a great way to help the health of the club. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for your time. I'll let you both get back to what you were doing. So I'm here with Eric and Dan. These guys both run the safety team. First of all, how are you guys doing today?
Good. Very well.
Having a lot of fun?
Yeah.
Good. So before we get really into it, what brought you guys into autocrossing, and how long have you guys been doing it for?
Well, I'll start off here. I've been doing it for about 20 years. Brought into it by a friend. Your basic drug dealer. Here, try this. And yeah, that's led to other things like road racing, disc car. It's just a very addictive, but yet family-friendly and great sport.
I got bit about 12 years ago, got my high school car, and from the first moment I got it, it was just, what can I do to make this go faster? And I got into autocross here with the Oregon region about 2 years ago, and that was just me finally finding a place where I thought I could jump in, be around people that wanted the same things that I did.
So what drew you guys into doing a core position, and how long have you guys been doing safety for?
I got drawn into a core position by Bernadette. She grabbed me, I think, at about the first event this season and said, "Hey, you're here all the time. We need safety."
It happens that way a lot.
It does. I've seen her do that to numerous people now. That's pretty much it. They needed a safety guy, and it's something I can do.
So I've had a few different core positions over the years. Started off with tech about 10 years ago, did that for a few years, moved into chief of tech, and then just kind of transitioned into other, we were always short safety people, so I just decided, okay, I'll do that and help fill that gap. Because we always need safety. So anybody else wants to do safety, learn to do safety. We always need safety people.
So before, at, or during an event, what are your guys' responsibilities?
Main thing is, once the course is set up, to get a look at it and make sure that it meets minimum runoff requirements and offsets and that kind of thing. Look for potential areas where cars may spin or do something that could become an unsafe situation, and talk to the course designer to make any necessary adjustments. So that's kind of pre-event. During the actual event, we're just kind of monitoring the situation, looking for things like people that aren't supposed to be here, cars moving where they shouldn't be, making sure the course workers are doing their job, not sitting down, being on the phone, that kind of thing. Post-event, if there should be an incident, it is up to us to fill out the incident report, make sure we've got pictures of the incident, fill out the paperwork, all that kind of fun stuff. Hopefully it doesn't happen very often. The Oregon region really does try and stand head and shoulders above in the safety department. Kind of choose our sites, making sure that not only we meet the minimum requirements, but that and then some. We're not going to put the club members in a position that's going to cost them their car or, worse, bodily injury.
Are there any requirements for people that want to do safety, or is it just being at the events and volunteering to do it?
Yeah, there is some minimum requirements. Like any new job, you watch a training video. Yay. So yeah, there's a training seminar kind of thing to go through, and then you need to shadow a safety person at 2 events to kind of see the process, that kind of thing. At that point, the regional safety steward signs off, and voila, you're a safety person.
So it's not a hard thing to get. It's just making sure that you're watching videos and understanding what's expected of you.
Exactly.
Well, thank you guys for your time. The weather's kind of taking a turn for the worse, so we'll let you guys go back and get out of the rain. Thank you both. Thank you. So I'm here with the Chief of Novice, Jake. First of all, how are you doing today?
Great.
Did you have fun out there today?
It was fun.
So how long have you been autocrossing, and what drew you into the sport?
This is my 6th season, but I came out when I was 19, and I showed up to a Northwest Region event because I wanted to get involved, but this was a long time ago. And I didn't talk to anybody, nobody talked to me, I just kind of looked around, and I wanted to get back into it. But then basically all through my 20s, I worked weekends and holidays, and I just didn't have access to come out and go run. So finally, 6 years ago, I had the means to come out and the weekends off. So yeah, been going ever since.
So obviously you're the Chief of Novice, which is one of the core positions. What made you decide you wanted to do this as a core position?
I popped up a few years ago, and it's everything I love. You get to work with people, you get to help them improve. It's just a fun job to do, and it can be a little busy at times if we get a lot of novices that come in for an event. It's just fun. It's fun to see them light up. Just this morning when we got here, a guy came up and was telling me how grateful he was for instruction and how much speed he's picked up, and I don't know, it's just nice. It's good to help out. All the volunteer positions are important. I don't think any more than the rest, but it's fun to get that gratitude.
So leading up to the events, is there anything that you have to specifically do to prepare before anybody else shows up?
Typically I'll just look over the trophy challenge class. I'll see who's coming up, what cars they have, and just try to make a point to go over and talk to them. Sometimes we have newcomers that sign up in different classes. They don't go into the trophy challenge class, so try to work around schedules to work with those people as well, and see if they need any instruction, see if they have any questions, anything at all. Because my first experience when I was 19 was a little off-putting just because nobody had talked to me. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't figure anything out. That has kind of formed my approach now, to try to make people feel welcome, try to make sure they have a good time, try to make sure they're enjoying themselves, and just do what I can to make sure that they're having fun. It can be overwhelming.
Yes, just a little bit sometimes.
It's a lot to see, and you've never experienced anything else like it. It's very different than anything else you can do with a car.
So other than obviously looking over and seeing what novices are coming and walking the course with them, are there any other responsibilities that you have?
A lot of it is just actual instruction. COVID kept me from that last year, which was kind of a bummer, but getting into the cars, doing the ride-alongs and coaching while we're out on course. Sometimes it's just as simple as helping people find the course so they know where they're going. The first run I ever did, I came out, I made it about halfway around, and I was lost, completely lost. I think I just stopped on track. And one of our drivers came up and she helped me out. She jumped in the car. And so a lot of it is just whatever level they're at, jumping in. Sometimes I'll drive their cars if they want that instruction, however I can help.
So your job actually ends up being pretty important to all the new people that come around, because it makes it so they can actually understand and have the most fun possible while they're here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's important, but I try to make it important.
I mean, it was important for me. It helped me know where I was going, which is half the fun of it.
Yeah, the sooner that you can figure it out and get comfortable, the sooner you can focus on really just picking up time and improving. And even if you're not competitive, when you can start chopping the time down, it makes you feel good. You have a sense of pride when you can start knocking that down and getting faster.
Yeah, I can agree with that. As far as being a chief of novice or working with the novice, are there any requirements for you as far as to do this job?
No, I think I'm unqualified, other than just having a little bit of experience and trying my best.
Very, very humble, considering I watch you out there driving this around, and you make this thing move around and make it look pretty easy. So
Let me try.
Well, that's all I have for you. Thank you for your time. All right, so I've got Dallas, Ryan, and Brian here. They're all of the tech crew. First of all, how are all of you guys doing today?
Fantastic.
Good to hear. So I'm gonna start with you, Ryan. How long have you been doing this?
Doing autocross for 18 years. Yep. That's a while.
And then Brian, how long have you been doing it?
Probably 10 years on and off.
And Dallas?
17 years.
So you guys have all been doing it for a pretty long time then.
Quite a while.
Good. What drew each of you guys into the sport?
Oh man, we'll start with Brian.
This guy. I was a drag racer, and he dragged me into it.
All right, fair enough.
It's 17 years ago. I'm not sure I really remember. I wanted to do something more with cars and drag race. I don't want to race wheel to wheel, so I wanted to just drive the course. So autocross and time attack are the big allures for me.
Yeah. No, actually, probably similar idea to Dallas. For me, it's about the competition, camaraderie and all that. But it's more. It's very accessible, right? So anybody with a car and a license can do it. And for me, the big draw is just, running against the clock and having, it's having no excuses, right? So if I go out and make a mistake, that's on me. So I can figure it out, try to improve next time. That's really the big thing for me is to just race against the clock and figure out how to go fast and do it repeatedly.
Yeah, I think the accessibility brings you out here, and then the people keep you here.
So all of you guys are obviously the tech core workers. So what drew you into doing tech as a core worker?
Well, I have been autocrossing for 17 years, and I have been in street mod for 17 years. It's a class of attrition, and we break everything, so we have appreciation for mechanical bits. So tech just kind of lands naturally. I've done a lot of different core positions, but I like tech because I like seeing all the different cars, and you get to see them a little bit more up close and personal than the other positions.
He again dragged me into tech because I can't leave anything stock. I rip every car apart that I have, and so he's like, hey, he's a good fit. He knows cars.
I could probably see what Ryan likes about tech.
Yeah, why do I?
I don't know if there's anybody who knows the rules more in depth than Ryan.
Very true.
Like the very small nuances of understanding why certain rules exist, or knowing, like, in the rule books, they're kind of weird where there will be a rule exists, but it'll be a subsection somewhere that's not related to what you think you're looking for. And Ryan is just pinpointed on those. Well, you really got to be, X, Y, or Z. And so he's been really good about that.
Would you agree?
He fits well in that. I don't know if he likes that aspect, but he fits well in that role.
Would you agree?
All right. Okay. Yeah. I guess. I mean, it's obviously it's helpful to know the rule book. I mean, the main thing with tech is you're really just there to ensure safety. right? I mean, you don't want anybody getting hurt, obviously, and you don't want somebody's car to break down or have some kind of mechanical issue that's going to present a safety hazard. So that's, yeah, I guess that's it. And I guess the nice thing about being a core worker and well, in our case, working tech and running outside the run group is that you have more time available during the event to like watch the other cars run and go and talk to people. You know, a lot of this is about the people. So that's probably a nice benefit of working tech is that you see everybody come through, and so you get to chat about cars with people. You know, people always want to talk about their cars, so it's always cool to see what people bring by. So yeah, that's probably it for me.
And how long have you guys been doing tech?
I don't know if there's going to be a test. I don't know. I have no idea.
A few years.
Years.
You guys started doing it a few years ago.
Yeah, probably same
Year for now.
Yeah.
A little over a year.
I've been working tech, so I'm the chief of tech now, but I previously worked tech with the previous chief of tech. So I've been doing tech for, at least 5 years. I don't.
What are the requirements to do tech? To be a tech inspector?
Well, the number one thing is to know the rule book, right? So there's a specific section in the rule book that describes specifically what we're looking for in tech, right? It's about having a battery tied down, and depending on what class you're in, you need to have like a radiator overflow of certain capacity, and there's a few other things that people maybe don't realize that we're looking for in tech. But really the main thing is safety, right? So you want to make sure that they don't have cords shown on their tires, that their battery's tight, that they don't have any loose articles inside the passenger compartment that can present a danger. So that's the number one thing really, is to just make sure that the car is safe to drive. And if somebody has an issue, we're always trying to help them out, right? You don't want to fail anybody out of tech, right? Nobody wants to be sent home early because their car didn't pass. And so, if something's not right or if something goes wrong, we're always trying to help people out and try to figure out how to correct, whatever's wrong so that we can get them running.
A slightly different aspect of that that probably relates to all of the positions is consistency in showing up to events. Mm-hmm. So if you can't be in a core position if you can't be consistently showing up, and so that each class or each position is going to have some sort of redundancy built into it, but consistency is a big factor there.
And then leading up to an event, is there anything you guys have to do to get ready, or is it just showing up and doing the tech inspections in the morning?
So for an individual event, there's not a lot of prep. It's just making sure that the people are going to be here. Making sure we got the tech crew, that everybody's going to make it. And if somebody's not going to make it, we try to find somebody to stand in. I think most of the prep actually happens before the season starts because there's always rule changes. So as, for instance, like helmet rules will change every 5 years-ish. And so, when we do annual tech, we got to print new annual tech stickers, get all that stuff prepared, get new helmet stickers and all that stuff. So, there's some, light logistics and stuff like that happens ahead of time before the season starts. But once the season's underway, it's just a matter of making sure that the tech box is stocked with the right stuff and just go from there.
Well, I think that's all the questions that I have for you guys. Thank you all for sticking around and answering a few questions. So I'm here with Jason, Bob, and Aspen. These guys all run the trailer at each event. First of all, how are you guys all doing today?
Wonderful.
Super.
Great.
So the first question I have is going to be for all of you guys. It's how long have you guys been autocrossing and what drew you guys into the sport?
I started in 2015 and my first racing was on a track and I burned through my brakes the first time. So I decided to find something to do that's a little cheaper but still fun, and kind of fell into autocross and did the novice school and started loving it.
This is the end of my second year and I started autocrossing because I wanted to go fast.
I started autocrossing in 2017 and it was kind of an accident. Had a friend who was going to do an event, so I went to check it out and decided I had to do it. So I did, and it turned out I had already accidentally bought the right car for it. So, ba-bam, here I am.
Yeah, I noticed here looking around that all three of you guys are trailer and all three of you guys happen to drive the same color BRZs. Any reasoning behind that?
No, it's a requirement.
It is.
To be in timing, there's a bit of a formula.
You just don't mess with success.
What made you guys all decide that you wanted to do a core position, and how long have you guys been doing it?
So I kind of fell into it and got asked because I had some electronics and IT background. And that's how I started. I have done it for 2 years now. I'm still relatively new, but it's a fun position and you kind of learn as you go.
I showed up early one day and looked for guys needing help, and Bob looked like he needed help. And I've been doing it ever since.
I got voluntold to do it last year, and so here I am.
Leading up to an event or at an event, what are your guys' responsibilities and what do you have to do to prepare for the events?
So we have a few big responsibilities. The biggest one is that we're responsible for the timing system and making sure that it actually functions correctly. So the timing lights, the scoreboards, the head unit that actually connects all of that together. We make sure that they're functional, they have batteries, they're communicating properly.
Shielded from rain.
Yes, protected from rain, which does sometimes kind of an ad hoc in the middle of the event kind of thing. We also make sure that the live timing is feeding correctly. We make sure that the speakers work, and we also make sure that the trailer stays more or less functional. So leading up to the event, it's prep and setting everything up. So we are typically some of the first people to start working in the day because we need to get everything ready for the event to start. And then we're also some of the last workers of the day because we also have to bring everything back in.
First in, last out.
Yeah, you guys have a really long day then.
It's nice, but it's also, it's a fun job. You get to learn a bit every day, and it's also, it's nice to have most of the time off to not have to actually work on the course. But sometimes there is running to go pick up timing lights, or when they get wet or batteries run out.
Yes.
We get
Generally,
yelled
when
at.
timing isn't working is when people are most upset, because everybody's waiting for one guy to get over there.
They let you know when timing isn't functional.
What does it take to do your job? Are there requirements other than owning a BRZ to do timing?
Get here first, stay last.
Yeah, as long as you're okay with being here early. That's the biggest one, really. Other than that, anyone that wants to do it is teachable.
So basically, anyone can do it apart from this as long as they're willing to learn.
As long as you have the correct car.
Well, it's clearly starting to rain, so I'm going to let all of you guys go get back under the cover. Thank you guys for chit-chatting. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah.
So I'm here with Bernadette and Sean, the Oregon Region Solo Director and Assistant Director. I think I got that right, yeah? Yep. So how are you guys doing today?
I'm tired but good, thank you.
Okay.
I'm also good.
Good to hear. Glad you guys are doing good. I'm going to start off with a pretty simple question, which is, what drew you guys into autocross and how long have you guys been doing it?
I've always been interested in racing and driving cars, and just showed up to an event and they said put on a helmet and get in the car, and I was hooked. It was Dan Bullis and his Corvette, and this is my 6th year cross, so it's been good.
About 15 years, and I got drawn into it because my boyfriend, now husband at the time, brought me out here and scared the hell out of me, and we spent a whole year autocrossing together, and I had decided at the end of the year that if we were going to stay married that we needed to autocross in separate vehicles because I love him to pieces but he can't instruct, sorry. But he's really good, but it was just, for me, I love the people. I love the camaraderie, I love how everybody's so supportive and encouraging and they keep telling you, you can do this, you can do this.
So your guys' positions are a little different than most of the core workers. From my understanding, I know you're an elected position.
Yes.
Are you also an elected, or are you?
No, I was elected by Bernadette.
Okay, so you get to pick who you
The
want.
solo director gets to choose who they want as their right-hand person.
So is the director elected every year, or is it?
Yes, and I plan on staying until someone tells me to step down.
So is it everyone that's an SCCA member in the group that gets to vote, or is it just certain
Everybody in
people?
the Oregon region, every year they have an election, and ballots are sent out by our admin assistant with the Oregon region, and names are put on the ballot, and you vote whoever you want in, or you can write your name in.
So as the director and assistant director, what are some of your guys' responsibilities, both here at the event and then leading up to an event and behind the scenes kind of stuff?
For me, it's making contact with the venues and building a relationship with PIR, Shelton, and Packwood, and establishing ourselves as we're Oregon Region, we're SCCA Solo, we'd like to get some dates out, sit down for a whole year and figure out where the dates are going to be, and then send in the dates to the club, the venue managers, and it's important for me to maintain those relationships so that way we can keep racing there. And so I'll do that, and then I do what's called sanction requests. So every event has to have a sanction submitted to SCCA so we can have approval to run an event. And so my job is to, once I get the schedule laid out, I will submit all of those to the home office, and they approve the sanctions, and then we are good to go for the year.
Wow, so there's quite a bit that you're doing behind the scenes before we all show up here to actually race.
Yes, I ensure that we have these events, make sure that we have meetings once a month with the core people, and we work together to implement a plan of what's our goal, what's our actions, what are we going to do, what are we going to get out of this to make sure that when everybody shows up, that they don't see any flaws, that it runs smoothly and seamlessly. We have an amazing core people,
yes.
And I'm so absolutely proud of all of them for all the work that they've been doing for the last 2 years as I've become a new director to learn the job, bring in a new assistant manager, assistant director, and rebuild and continue bringing people in to fill in the core positions.
Well, mostly just support, giving her help whenever she needs something, like we need you to print this out and bring it, or we need to be sure we bring the radios, or things get stressful, just as a sounding board to, like things are gonna be all right, we'll take care of it and get things going, and and also dealing with social media, posting when we have an event, and so trying to get more people out, add more people, answer any questions.
So like all the Facebook posts that I see, that's primarily you that's posting it up?
It's it's both.
Oh,
I'm doing
okay.
most of the Instagram one. She's doing a lot of the Facebook.
There's the page, Oregon Reach page, and then there's the group page. And I have access to both of them. He has access to one of them. If I, for some reason, can't access it, or if I'm in a position where I need him to hop in and post something on the other page, he'll do that for me. But then I try to do both of them, and then I put him in charge of Instagram. So he does all the responding through the instant messaging through Instagram and the posting, and then I'll respond to all the messages through Facebook, and then we tag team on email. It's fun. To me, it's rewarding. Seeing everybody out there having fun, having smiles, and then when they come up to you and they thank you for having such an amazing event, to me that goes a long way, because we all pulled it off.
So obviously you guys are elected. That's one of the things that's required. Are there any other requirements to be the director or an assistant of the director?
For me, I think you need to have, honestly, people skills. For me, it's communication, people skills, positive attitude, creating a warm, friendly, approachable environment. That says a lot more. I want to be that person that goes, oh wow, I showed up at the event, that person was really nice. Whatever I am showing as an example, I want that to spread through everybody.
So from what I can tell, you guys, a lot of what you're doing is behind the scenes before the season. You guys probably have more stuff going on before events and behind the season than from any of the other core workers that I've really talked to.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, we have, we work really well with all the core workers to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And we do have a couple that have a really hard job in the background as well, to make everything is working seamlessly. But being their sounding board, being their support is what we also do together for the core people.
Thank you guys both for your time. I appreciate it. I will let you guys go enjoy the rest of your guys' day.
Okay.
Thank you again.
No, thank you.
Along with all of the interviews that you guys have seen so far, there are a few more core positions that we unfortunately were not able to interview with. The first of those is James Keller, the now former registration, which I am now taking over. Some of the things that are involved with registration is you're in charge of the laptop. When you're not at the racetrack, you're in charge of the laptop, making sure that the program is updated that we use for keeping track of all the scoring. You are in charge of printing off all of the registration cards and blanks and making sure all that stuff is ready to go before every single event. You also need to make sure that after an event, you're syncing the system so people can see their results, which is pretty important because a lot of those guys that are competing in the upper levels really want to see how they are doing. On an actual event day, registration is the first place that everyone goes to see. It's the first person that you interact with at an autocross event. When you get there, you park up your car in your grid spot, and then you go to registration to get your run card before you do anything else during the day. So that is your first person that you see, and it is important that the person in this position is very outgoing and is willing to sit there and chat with people while also making sure that everything is correct on their registration cards so they're ready to compete for the day and they can have as much fun as possible. After your stop at registration, normally the next place you go is worker assignment, which is run by Danielle Paulson. She was unfortunately not able to interview in time for this, but her job is very vital to an autocross event. You see, without worker assignments, how are people gonna know to go pick up cones? How do you know when you're gonna run? These are very important things that you need to know if you're gonna go to an autocross event. Do you run first? Do you run second? Do you work first? Do you work second? Where are you working? What station are you at? What cones will you be picking up? These are all things that are determined by Danielle. It is her job to do the worker assignments to make sure that we have enough people in each position for each run group. When registration closes at 6 p.m. on Thursday before the event, she'll sit down and look at all the registered participants, what classes they're running in, and then organize the 2 run groups, or 3 depending on how many people are registered. They need to know the run groups so they can figure out who in each run group can run safety. Because in order to run an event, each run group needs 1 safety person present that is not driving, and so that way they can watch over the event as it's running. She is also usually sitting really close to registration. It's the second place you're going to go after you register. You gotta go get your worker assignment and you gotta figure out what you're running first or second. Her job in worker assignment is extremely important because she works to make sure that we have enough people in all the different positions so we can have a very smooth running event for both run groups. If you don't have enough people picking up cones, it can delay the event. It can slow things down if someone has to run a lot further to go pick up a cone. So when we have a lot of people present, it makes it a lot easier because there's more people to run around and pick up cones, and the event can breeze by and run extremely smooth. Her job is to make sure that we have enough workers in both run groups so everything is balanced and smooth running and there are no long delays. Her husband, James Paulson, is the chief of course design. Very important job for an autocross event because if you don't have someone to design the course, you have no course, you have no event in reality. James is so talented, he can design a course in his head and have it organized the day of the event. He will lay out the course that day and then go through and organize it and tighten it up while making sure it adheres to the national expectations. Once he has finished designing the course and he is happy with it, he takes a safety member out with him to ensure the flow is good and the layout is accurate and safe. The key part there is safe. He can design a course in his head, but there needs to be a separate person to ensure that this course is safe and there's plenty of runoff for cars and places for people to be standing safely when a car is running. That will allow them to quickly go out and pick up the cones. Once safety passes the course, it is then ready for walking, and his job for the day is complete. James is so good at what he does that he had the opportunity to design the national course one year. He had a week to design it and submit the plan to the SCCA so they could make his course for the national event. That's very impressive, and that is who is designing our courses at every event. There's a reason why the SCCA courses are very close to the national expectation of courses and adheres to their guidelines for a course so well. One last person that I think we should be thanking is my wife, Danielle. I will put a link to her photography stuff in the description below. She captured all of the footage that you guys have seen today throughout the entire autocross season, along with capturing all of these interviews. Her role was vital to making sure that I could make this video happen for you guys. Thank you, Danielle, for taking the time to come out to all these events and help me capture all of this amazing footage. These core positions that are in place are vital to the success of the autocross event. Without any of these positions, we wouldn't have events. These people put in the extra hours before and after the events to ensure that everyone who comes out has the opportunity to learn and have a lot of fun while keeping it organized and safe. I want to extend a huge thank you to all of the core workers for participating in these interviews and giving people a little bit of an insight to what you guys are doing before, during, and after an event to make sure that everything runs smooth and that everyone who comes out gets to have the most fun possible. With everything that you guys have just watched, I want to thank all of you guys for watching. As always, if you guys like what you saw and you want to support the autocross community, be sure to leave a big thumbs up. Leave some comments down below about some of your experiences with your autocross clubs if you want to. What are the pros and cons to different clubs that you guys compete in? Have you learned anything from this that maybe will help you guys in the future with your clubs that you compete in? Or maybe you can extend these ideas out to other non-SCCA groups to try and improve the situation with other clubs? Let me know down below. And if you guys want to see another fantastic season of Autocross, don't forget to subscribe. We're going to have an even better year this year with the old Subaru, but that is for another video. Thank you guys all for watching and taking the time to learn about what happens behind the scenes, and I will see you guys in the next one.